I go.
We wanted to announce you all that we really hope to accomplish out here in Congress Square because we've been drumming. We started drumming out here in 1989. And this year we've been going since the first Sunday of February till this Sunday.
Started?
Yeah. All right. So, but there's a lot more to what we're doing than just act as drummers. So, this is kind of where we're going. So I'd like to read this. You want to follow along if you like, or just, just absorb it and think and start, absorbing and get whatever ideas you have in mind. So, after 22 years of exceptional service to New Orleans history and culture, the Congo Square Foundation is changing its name to the Congo Square Preservation Society. Our name change reflects the evolution of our mission into the 21st century. Since its formation in 1989, the Congo Square Foundation has been the major catalyst in the resurrection of activities, advocacy, and preservation of historic Congo Square. Our most significant accomplishments have been the successful effort and application that placed Congo Square on the National Register of Historic Places on January 27, 1993. 2. Led the effort to erect the Congo Square Historic Plaque on November 23, 1997. That's the plaque we see in the center of Congo Square today.
Thousands of people get this every month.
3 Congo Square drumming workshops since 1989. We've had them here. After the hurricane, we had them at the Ashe, and we called it the Ashe Drum Circle, and then we returned now back to Congo Square. But this is something that's been going on since 1989, at least as far as what we've been doing. We've produced 5 Congo Square International Festivals throughout the 1990s. During 2 of those festivals, we conducted 24-hour drumming vigils in Congo Square on September 23rd, 1994, and September 22nd, 1995. And the purpose of those were we were trying to really drum for 24 hours for the purpose of stopping the violence in New Orleans. The first year we did it, we had 1,000 people participating over the 24-hour period, and almost immediately people started praying on the steps of City Hall for 24 hours, and the murder rate almost immediately started to go down. We're not claiming we did this all on our own, but it's just the power of, the power of our culture. And when we do something over a 24-hour period, but what kind of how you change the atmosphere. We hope to do another one in 2012. As soon as it gets warm again. Not too hot. We've led Congo Square cleanup, planted gardens, had a logo and essay contest. When you look at our logo, that's from a child did this. Okay? We have lectures and historic research. And our resident historian, Freddie Evans, she'll talk more about what she's done, but, we've been really, thanks to her and many other, Kalama Yasalam and many other people who really have just loved this kind of history, we've really accumulated so much information. The Congo Square Preservation Society will build upon the accomplishments and foundation established by the Congo Square Foundation and concentrate on the following educational, cultural, benevolent, and economic goals. First, membership in the Congo Square Foundation, the Congo Square Preservation Society is open to musicians, dancers, writers, visual artists, Mardi Gras Indians, social and pleasure club members, digital media artists, culinary artists, healers, actors, spoken word, poets, teachers, historians, clergy, creative producers, community organizers, vendors, the building trades, and cultural preservers. 2, we will provide to members of the Congo Square Preservation Society the opportunity to buy life insurance through the Rose Insurance Company. It's a $5,000 life insurance policy that you can only get it as a group. And they've chosen to make Congo Square Preservation Society the group because she wants to make sure that culture bearers have insurance. Because, many of our artists, when they pass away, we have to scramble to bury them. And I think the policy is like maybe $20 a month for anyone who would be interested. Let me read that again if I got it straight. We will provide to members of the Congo Square Preservation Society the opportunity to buy life insurance through the Rose Insurance Company. We will also provide artistic support of activities in Congo Square, peacekeeping strategies through the Council of Elders, educational assistance and economic opportunities. We are going to continue the 250-year-old tradition of drumming, dancing, healing, and fellowship every Sunday in Congo Square. Except for this pouring down rain. So we're gonna drum through the cold, we drum through the heat. If it's too cold, we'll go to the Golden Feather, but we're gonna make sure we don't have to send an email about it every week because we know we're gonna be here every week. All right. We will conduct educational field trips in Congo Square for schools, organizations, and communities in New Orleans and around the world. We're looking to do these on Friday. Continue to serve as an archival organization and advisory body in the preservation, enhancement, and image of Congo Square. This next one is really important. We're working to ensure that the cultural, spiritual, and economic development of Congo Square results in the betterment of the local African-American cultural community and the African-American cultural community that lives in this, who has roots in this neighborhood, that traces its roots to Congo Square. We want to serve as a voice of consensus regarding all aspects of Congo Square based upon the input, that means your input, and direction of our local, national, and international membership. You are cordially invited to join and help shape the Congo Square Preservation Society. These are members of our board so far, and we have a couple of members who aren't here today, but just to give you background from their point of view.
One of the things I want to say, we appreciate you being here every Sunday, and the spirit and energy that you bring is vital and important. But there are so many forces that are working against the work we do. And if we do not come together and make our voice one, none of us will be heard. There are forces that want to take over this park, that want to move folks out of the community. We know them when we see them. They don't like the second line band marching down the street.
That is our culture. It started in this square, in this area. It is vital. Many of us came back to New Orleans because we missed culture.
Ashe.
The house was pulled down. There was no money coming. But the feeling and the spirit of Congo Square was so deeply rooted in us that we had to come home. So if we want home to continue to be home, I ask you to support us in our efforts in the Congo Square Preservation Society so that we can make home home. So when those babies grow up and stand in these places, and when they walk through this park, this square, it will maintain when I was a baby and the babies before me were walking through this square, enjoying the culture of New Orleans. And we say that membership is $25. It starts at $25. Y'all know how far $25 goes? So if you got 50, you can work with it. If you got 50,000, you can work with it. One of the goals that's not on this paper, we need a physical space, And we have our eyes on physical spaces. But they cost money. And all of us as colorful artists know that often we don't have a place that we can be friendly in. It either costs too much, it's too big, it's not big enough. They might not like the noise we make. We need our own space, y'all. Baba Shaka has graciously opened his space. But we need another space. So that in that space, it can be ours. We can shape it. So I invite you to join us. We don't have contact information on this one, but when you come out Friday morning, we'll have some more of that and be willing to take your application. Thank you.
If I may?
Yes, sir.
If I may, I am compiling a list through Facebook.
Okay.
Because most of us are on Facebook. So if you're not attached to me already, please do. Also, the Congo Square Preservation Society is all of us. I just happen to be the one managing the page. So So if you're communicating, it's usually me. If it's not me, Luther will put his name behind it, or Jamila put her name behind it. But generally, if it's coming from the Congo Square Preservation Society page, it's me.
Hold on, we'll take questions after everyone speaks, okay? Mama Sula?
I just want to say that just as our ancestors met back long time ago in many different parts of the world, when they had issues in their lives, when they had concerns, when there were people hunting them, when there were people fighting against their desires and the things that they needed for safety, they went to the hills and they went and spoke to the ancestors and the Holy Spirit and the great ancients. So that's what we're doing when we come here every Sunday. We're really harnessing our energy together so that we can be a more powerful force in the universe that can both change. So we believe that this is the voice of change, and this is the voice of change and the avenue of change which our ancestors took, and we're just simply following their lead. So we just ask you all to come out and support what we're doing here, because we're really one voice, although from many different tribes, we're still one spirit, one voice, and we're just all coming together. And really coming together and trying to bring people from different walks of life, not just Africans, but people from all over, so that we can be a unified voice.
Okay, Aruko Mini Marcus Shangadoyin Akinlana. Baba Luther asked me to join the board recently, and in the capacity of one of the traditional Awos, Namaoni Shango, an Orisha Voodoo system of traditional culture. And shortly thereafter, maybe a couple of months ago, it's been that long, we cast divination on our efforts out here. So now, based on all of our collective frustrations, Mama Sula called a meeting where we said that we needed to, in that meeting, about what was going on with the culture of New Orleans, we said we needed to do something about resurrecting our beautiful Congo Square. Remember, that was earlier?
January.
That was in January. And then, so we started traditionally, we made sacrifices by that beautiful oak tree right there, given to the knowledge of this place, given to our ancestors by the indigenous people. So, fortunately, when we cast divination to Ifa, we got an E-ray reading on our efforts. E-ray means good fortune. You're in a state of good fortune. You're on your path.
Right.
Okay? So, this particular reading, the Odu Oturapan, came up heavily. This is an Odu that deals with endurance and issues of children. And then on this is a particular style of reading we're doing with Obia Bata Kolanuts. It's also dealt with this is a good place for male initiative to thrive, which is unusual for us, lately. Okay? All right? So, I'm going to speak on that just for a second. That this effort that we're doing, obviously we're going to have to dig deep and be like marathon runners. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon that we're involved in. And we're going to have to deal with that real fire energy. And if we do, we will see victory over time. Even though things are starting out with opposition, the park was all messed up. We had some even terrible atrocities happening around here and everything like that. But if we stay on point and get ready to run this marathon, we will see a brighter day. Furthermore, any ideas which Mama Jamila had already spoken about of involving the young people into this are going to help us to get further on to the mission and to see light and joy and abundance and erase. One of the things we discussed was that if you join the Congo Square Preservation Society, for those people who have an interest and a love of the traditional culture, it's not the walk of life of everybody, but for those people who are interested in that, and you can get access to the annual readings that we will cast for the Congo Square Preservation Society, right? But to get the full reading, you do need to be a member. You need to be a part of, right? So, we're starting out at this point in time in a state of good fortune and array. You can see it. You see Friday, that the things that we asked for are already coming through. We had no idea that this thing was going to jump off this big, this quickly, in February. And we haven't even been back at it for a year out here. So we give thanks to Bobo Arisha, Ati Bobo Egunwa, Ati Bobo Loa, Ati Bobo Allah, Yahweh, whatever your name is for the divine beings and all of the gods of our ancestors. Ashe.
Good afternoon. I'm Freddie Evans, and writer, researcher on Congo Square, And many times you don't see me out here like this morning. I'm still working because my job is not done, although my book is out on Congo Square. We had recently an exhibit on Congo Square at the New Orleans African American Museum that premiered at Jackson Heritage Festival. Congo Square Preservation Society supported me throughout my research, supported that effort. And local filmmaker Royce Osborne and I are still working on funds to even create a documentary which we would be a part of. So when you come out here, you're really keeping the history alive. I don't know if many of you have read my book or not, but there's a timeline. That timeline is still continuing today because of what you're doing. So I really appreciate you continuing together and drum and dance, and I thank Luther for the opportunity to serve on the board. Praise him for his leadership, because I know we're going in a great direction. Another thing that we would do is add the curriculum, so that when we do bring school groups out and tourists come out, then we'll have something to give to them, or we'll have an educational guide to pass to teachers. So that's another part of the future for us.
Hi, my name's Allison McFerry. I'm a postulant with the Sisters of St. Joseph. I'm also a civil rights and cultural rights attorney in town. Baba Luther and Mama Jamila asked me to serve on the board, and I do a lot of legal advocacy work around preservation of the culture of the city. Mama Jamila commented that there's a lot of forces against us right now, and there sure are. There's a lot of developers. There's billions, not millions, billions of dollars going into this area. Congo Square is the golden egg of it all. Everyone's wanting their hands on it. We've got to ensure that our right to be here without a permit, without a license, without having to pay some kind of fee, stays like this for our future generations. Last night I got a phone call at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. More than 24 young African-American brass band members were being arrested in the French Quarter for playing their music on our street. Another group was told that they had to have a permit to play music on the street, but they could get a free one from WWOZ, but there's a limited number there. They've never had to have a permit to play on the street. It's protected by the First Amendment. We currently have a noise ordinance that Councilwoman Palmer's trying to present. They would criminalize what we're doing here because it says you can only perform music in an indoor venue, in a bar, in a restaurant, or an indoor amusement facility. Our public spaces like this, our streets where we have second lines, it must be protected and respected so that our traditions can continue. The most sacred rituals and traditions that we have take place in these public spaces, or the space between your front porch and the street. And it's important that they continue. This current noise ordinance, it wouldn't require them to have a decibel reader. Someone could come out and say, this is unreasonable noise to me, and they can come and arrest for that. They don't have to have a decibel reader anymore. It states that private neighborhood organizations.
You have decibel meters on iPhones.
Yeah. They have private neighborhood organizations, and the Downtown Development District would have the authority to come out here and determine if we're making unreasonable noise or not, and report us for that. So this noise ordinance is really important. We had a musicians roundtable yesterday on it. And I think it was retaliation because as soon as it went on the news within an hour, my phone was ringing with all these musicians, the street musicians in the French Quarter calling, saying that the police and other organizations were telling them they needed permits and all of this stuff we had never heard of before. So there's a good, WWL did a good 5-minute segment on the roundtable we had yesterday, and there's more than 7 news organizations out on it. So we got to pay attention to it and, figure out what this means to us. There's a current noise ordinance that is sufficient, to protect what we have here. So there's no need for a new one for special interest.
All right.
So there's lots of other advocacy efforts going on to protect the second lines, the Indians, and if y'all ever need any help, I'm here, for legal stuff.
Sure. Thanks.
Before we get questions, our other board members who are not, some weren't able to be here with us today. But